We're going to ride on tonight's show, riding with the king and a genius. And I'll get to the genius in a few seconds. The Howard Eskin Show. And thanks for joining again. A little early tonight, but that's all right. On all the platforms that I'm on, you can watch it at any time. And I know people have rewatched a lot of the shows. I also want to thank one of our partners, our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell can do a lot of good things for you, investing your wealth. 732-343-0813. Also, a new partner in the show, and that would be Thomas Chevrolet. I'm telling you, driving the vehicle that I'm driving now, and we'll talk more about them later in the show. Really, really nice people, family dealership, and Piazza Property Pros. Take care of all the things you need to be taken care of with your property, whether it's building a pool, landscaping, fencing, hardscaping. They can do it all. A lot of things that we're going to talk about tonight. Obviously, football. I'm going to talk a little baseball. I'm going to get into something with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But first, a special, and I always have special guests. I always try to have special guests, and he is a special guest. Terrific coach, and maybe a nicer guy. That's pretty hard to do. Let me welcome in the new coach of the New York Giants, and that would be John Harbaugh. It's just the genius of all geniuses. I'm telling you, first of all, thanks for joining the show. And it's good to have two geniuses on the show. I don't know who the second genius is besides you, but but thanks, John.
Great to be with you, Howard. All these years, man. The King. You know that song, "Riding with the King." I hadn't heard that before. I'm going to put that on my phone. I'm going to put that on the likes playlist right there.
I will send it to you, John. You started a new chapter, and it's Doug Collins, who I know is a friend of yours, said something to me one time when I left Afternoon Drive and I started to do some other things in radio and then in TV. He says, change is important in the pursuit of success. And he did it, different coaching jobs. He went to broadcasting, went back to coaching. So it's probably something that more people don't realize, but you do it sometimes because you have to, sometimes because you want to. John, when you became the head coach of the New York Giants, I'm going to get into some of the things that went into your decision, but I saw the smile on your face. Let me play some video when you came into your news conference. And, here's a guy, a happy guy, meeting his players. You came into your news conference. How much fun was it to see all those players waiting there for you, and then the news conference, the excitement of something new for you? What was that like?
I'm just watching that. I'm watching the clip you put on there with a big smile on my face right now because it was. It's what coaching is right there. I tell you, it's New York. Philadelphia is incredible, and Baltimore was amazing and everything. But we walked by. You see, walking up past that crowd right there. When I walked by the auditorium, I figured the press conference would be in the team meeting room. That's where they've all been in places I've been. They put it in the indoor facility, and that's because there were so many people there. I was like, wow, this is big. This is a big group.
Okay, so John, you 18 years with the Ravens, and you had coached other teams before that, but that was your first head coaching job. What was it like? I mean, it's different. It's a different team. You're going to be a head coach. You're going to coach football players. But what was the excitement like inside you when the realization came at that news conference that you're the head coach of the New York Giants?
Yeah, it's really hard to explain, but it's definitely the change part of it that Doug is talking about. That really is what you're saying because you're starting something for the first time, and all the things that you're bringing to that opportunity, that new leg in the journey of your life, you're going to bring to bear, and you're excited about it because it's like, man, I know so much more than I knew before, and now I get to bring it to bear in the beginning, starting fresh with all those players and the fans, the media, and everything. Just try to be who you are, but be the it's like the best version of who you are, because now you've made all the mistakes, that you've learned from, hopefully, and all the different experiences that you had, and it's going to be a group that's going to going to kind of hear it for the first time, and maybe these are the things that are going to resonate, make the difference, and do some great things because you go into situations like this full of hope. You're going full of hope that incredible, amazing, memorable things are going to take place, and that's why I'm excited.
I don't know. Nobody wants to leave the job they were in because you want to get to win and you want to win another Super Bowl. But you want to get it, and things happen, and there's always an expiration date on a head coach. So, what was number one? What was it like thinking about the next challenge? What were the thoughts in your mind? Like, what did you want to do once you knew you had to move on from the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, I mean, it was an amazing thing there with Baltimore. We were so close so many times. So you take pride in the fact that you're able to sustain that kind of uh, success. I mean, that kind of competitive, being so close all the time. But it does get to the point. There's an expiration date on everything. Life has an expiration date. Try to make the most of your life, you know. So we tried to make the most of our 18 years, and we didn't know that it was going to be up in that moment. So what goes through your mind basically is, again, uh, this is what it's supposed to be. Like, it's hope. It's this opportunity. I knew in my heart that it was time. And I was happy. I was excited. I was disappointed. I felt a little humbled. I wasn't never felt humiliated, but I felt like, darn it, you want to go out on your own terms. But you know what? it's hard to it's hard to make change on your own. Usually, you got to be pushed out. We don't want to leave. Hey, you never leave the party early. You never leave the dinner early. The bar. I never left early. They always had to throw me out. So they threw me out in Baltimore, and it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because now I get to go to the New York Football Giants and start something new and fresh and exciting.
John, when you have to make a choice, and you'll probably be humble and you won't admit this, everybody was waiting for you to take a job. And the other head coaching situations didn't get filled until they saw what you did for obvious reasons. You were the best person available out there at the time. I'll say that. I know you're too humble to admit that. But what was it about the New York Giants? Because you had your choice of pretty much anywhere, I'm sure. What was it about the New York Giants, which is going to be problems for the Eagles, whether these fans like it or not? What was it about the New
I
York
hope
Giants?
so. I really hope so, Howard.
Oh, it will
That's
because you got a quarterback. What was it about the New York Giants that said, was it the Big Apple, the city, the team? You kind of, I guess the city kind of gets out of your mind. You got to look at the team and the organization and the Maras and all that. What was it about the New York Giants?
Yeah, I mean, not the city so much itself, but there's an element of what you're talking about, which I'll hit on last. But the first thing was the the, the, the team. I mean, you want to go to a team that can win. I always had this conversation, talked to Tom Creed about it, my brother-in-law, when he was looking at jobs. It's like, go where you can win. I mean, that's the thing. You got to win, so you got to go where you have the best chance to win. I felt really good about the team, the players, the quarterback, the defense, the front, the building of the offensive line, the running back, wide receiver, Mike Neighbors. I mean, Mike Neighbors, they got a great young tight end. I mean, I really like their team, and I like the way I saw them play on tape, not down the stretch last season, the way they fought hard, to the end. I like the character of the team. I think they want to win. I think they want to do the things it takes to win. I mean, you got to work to earn the right to play football, and then you go play, and you let it go. And I think these guys want to work in that sense. Secondly, was the organization led by the Mara and Tish families, and the coach now involved in that. The Maras are, John Mara, all these years, Chris Mara involved as well. The people involved with the organization, I feel like these are first class. This is old guard, NFL, blue blood people that are football people, down to earth football people. And I love them. Every time I'm around them, I love them even more. So, and then the organization reflects all that and all the people in the organization. Even the last thing was this. It was like, in the end of the day, it's the New York Football Giants. It's the New York Giants. And if you're gonna, I'm not I'm not a spring chicken. You're a spring chicken. I'm not a spring chicken. I'm a fall chicken. I'm in my fall chicken days right now. October chicken right now. So I'm like thinking right now, you know what? if I'm going to take a swing in my October chicken days, I want to take a swing there. I want to take a swing there where we can have the biggest impact. That was probably the last part of it.
When you look at a team, okay, you look at the organization, you look at the players. They got some draft picks, so you can get better through the draft. But how much of is it the quarterback? You can't win without a quarterback. How much was the quarterback a factor when you looked at teams, a factor to going to the New York Giants?
Can you see my arms?
Yep,
That much.
yep.
As wide as you can. I have actually a good wingspan for my height, believe it or not. But the we measure that in our family. We measure wingspan, we measure cranium size, neck size. We almost everything, not everything. But what were we talking about? Oh, the
The
importance.
quarterback, yeah, the importance of the quarter, but that's all right. The importance of the coach, is important, but I'm going to get to that. But the quarterback is very important.
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, I spent a lot of time watching the quarterbacks who were going to be involved in this, including the guys in college. So you have to have a quarterback. The quarterback makes the plays. He moves the chains. I was blessed with two amazing quarterbacks in those years, Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson. So two different quarterbacks, but also guys that could make plays and move the chains. So you got to have that guy. I really like Jackson Dart. I'm excited about this guy. I love his tenacity. I love his grit. I think he's super talented and super determined. So, that was probably number one. Yeah.
He's a young quarterback, but they beat the Eagles once, and obviously he had a good game. But his maturity through the years, it just looks like his fundamentals can really be worked with to be a better quarterback. Did you look at that?
I think so. You do see. The thing I saw was I think the fundamentals can always be worked at, and he's a guy that's determined to do that. If you don't want to work at him, it's not going to matter. So he's determined to work at it. We're going to have the quarterback coaches in place to do that. What I saw was the raw talent within the fundamentals. I think he can throw off different platforms. Andy used to talk about that all the time. Off balance, on the move, change his arm angles, change the velocity of the ball, drop it in, layer it in, have a little touch on the underneath passes, zip it in there when he needs to. It's to get, kind of shortstop type ability as a thrower. That's what I always think of an infielder. Preferably not a second baseman, shortstop or a third baseman if you can get it. I don't need the right fielder. I mean, it's nice to throw the bomb, but we need to be making outs and throwing the ball accurately, on time and off balance. So I saw that. That's what I saw him.
Okay, the coach has to get the players to play to a tough level. I look at coaches, and Nick Sirianni's really excitable on the sidelines, and people misconstrue that for how good a coach he is. I think he's a good coach because I think it's important. And Andy Reid had this, as you well know, players love you and respect you. Now, it's hard to get both from almost all the players. How difficult is that, especially with today's players, to get them to go to the wall, and then after you bust their ass, they got to like you too?
Great question, and I think Nick does a great job. I mean, I think Nick Sirianni is one of the best coaches in football right now. Just look at his record, And he's got a great supporting cast there, Howie and Jeffrey Lurie and the whole organization. But he's got a team. But I think he does a great job coaching his team, and they reflect his personality and the way they play, and that's a cool, good thing. And he's not afraid to be himself. And to me, it starts with that. Like if the players know that you're genuinely who you are, and you're not trying to act like something that you're not, they respect that just like anybody does, And if you're passionate, you care, and if you're honest, I mean, all the things that you hear, all those things are really true. They'll love you to varying degrees, or they'll hate you to varying degrees, or they'll respect you to varying degrees. You kind of got to meet people where they're at. Like for me, it's like I try to look at where a person's at as a player or whatever. But mainly the players, like where are they at, what do they need, and if I can kind of work myself into that place next to them, and then have a conversation, build a relationship, because I just want to be on good terms with everybody. Like I want to be on good terms with everybody on the team. I don't want to walk down the hall and look at the guy and go, oh, I don't want to see him. I want to take a right. How can I avoid this conversation? I want to be, hey man, let's go. And then because that way they know that you care about them, you like them, you want them to do well, you want them to be successful, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to help them be successful, including working really hard or give them the honest truth, a self-evident honest truth that is required to improve and become the best they can be. Why? Because I want you to make a name for yourself. I want you to be known by everybody that watches football, for what you've been dreaming of your whole life, right? I'm there with you. It's my job to be there with you, and I want you to know that. And if I don't know, it seems easy to me. It's just kind of natural. So I love the players, and I want the players to love me, and I respect the players because these are the gladiators. These guys are the guys in our society that are carrying the sword, the big sword. They're carrying the sword into the Coliseum, all right, the metaphorical sword into the Coliseum, and they are laying it on the line, for the fans, and it's entertainment. It really is, and it's tough. Football is a tough sport, so you got to respect these guys for what they do. And now the competitive, you got to go against the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Commanders. I mean, the Steelers. These are teams, man, that you got to fight against, and you got to go into battle, football battle against. So respect them, but we want to win. We want to win these battles, And what's it going to take to go play football so we can win these battles? Frame it in a way that they can understand, because that's the absolute truth about what football is.
I don't know. It's a tough question, but you're not afraid of tough questions. At the end of the season, your quarterback with Baltimore, former quarterback with Baltimore, didn't kind of give you a vote of confidence. It's easy to say when people say, well, I forget exactly what the question was about John Harbaugh. Oh, well, he just lost the game. I can't think about that. Hey, listen, all he has to say is, I love my coach. But he didn't say that. You know, do you think he kind of, at the end, didn't take enough responsibility and kind of pushed it off to somebody else?
All I can say about that is this is tough business. You know what I mean? And the emotions are tough and everything else. And I could never ever speak for anybody else, but I can tell you that I love Lamar Jackson. And I believe at the bottom of my heart that Lamar Jackson loves me. I know it because of what we did every single day and when we were together for the last 7 years, you know. And I will believe that until forever. I'm never going to change, and I'm always going to love him, and I'm always going to, meet him where he's at. And we had tough moments together, obviously, and we had glorious moments together. We had everything in between, and we had boring moments together. We had funny moments together. We had everything, and I'm going to carry that with me for the rest of my life, and I'm going to cherish it. And that's how I feel about it. The rest of it is just it's part of it. It's part of life. It's part of the journey.
All right, I'll give you this, and you may have heard this statistic, but you weren't in the NFC, let alone the NFC East. No team had won consecutive titles for, it was 20 or 21 years until the Eagles last year, so they won two in a row. But now, how tough is it, considering it was like 20 or 21 years before they won two in a row, to win three in a row? You obviously want to be competitive. What do you think about this division? And obviously, the Eagles are the NFC East champs. But what do you think about this division and how you can compete in the division?
Great question. No one's ever won the AFC North 3 times in a row. We had our chance to do it. We missed right. And we would have done something that never been done before as well. And I just think it shows you how competitive National Football League is. But how tough is it going to be? Well, it starts with the Eagles. I mean, let's just be honest about it. The Eagles are defending champs. I remember when my dad would tell us that when Bo Schembechler took the job at Michigan in 1969, when Michigan was down, and Ohio State was the reigning national champion, and it was like, we have to beat Ohio State. Everything we do, every decision we make is with Ohio State in mind. And they ended up building a team like Ohio State is what they did, and they beat it the very first year. So you got to build a team to beat the Eagles. Yeah, you got to beat the Commanders, you got to beat the Cowboys, but the Eagles are the champs. So we have to build a team to beat the Eagles. And everything we do, every practice we have, every film session will be with that in mind. I mean, you better do it or you have no chance. So how hard is it going to be? It's going to be really hard, but it's going to be hard for them to beat us too. We're going to be really tough to beat. So good luck with that, and we'll see how that plays out.
Okay, you got to build a team to beat the Eagles. What do you have to do, to take away? And teams did it last year. I'll give you this. The 7 winning teams the Eagles played, the Eagles failed to score over 20 points. Now, you may know all these statistics. They had trouble in the second halves. There's a lot of things. They always blame the coach, and the fans really don't blame the players. It's your ass. It's not the players' rear end. But okay, so you say we got to build a team to beat the Eagles. How do you build a team to beat the Eagles?
Well, it starts up front because they're so good up front on both sides. I mean, you better build an offensive line all across the board, and especially an interior offensive line that can handle those monsters that they have playing up front. Okay, that's where it starts. On defense, it starts with your defensive line because they have had one of, if not the best offensive lines in football. That's the key to their success. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. It always has. It always will. So we've got to build a defensive line that can stop the run against these guys if you get to the quarterback. I think we have a really good chance to do that. I like our guys. So that'll be where it starts. After that, it becomes all the other things. It becomes holding on to the football, moving the chains, staying on schedule, making plays, finishing games. How do you finish a game? You know, we had our struggles with that too. How do you get off the field on defense? You got to get sacked. You got to tip a pass. You got to knock a ball down. You got to pick one off, cause a fumble. And how do you win a game on offense? You got to get first downs. You got to run the ball. You got to complete a pass. You got to make a catch. Plays have to be made in the fourth quarter by players and also by coaches that create plays that give players an advantage to make plays. And that's your job as a coach too. So all those things to me go together.
You know, I know you have a lot of work putting together a staff, but you obviously, I would think, looked at some tape of the Eagles. What teams, what I see and what people said, and I've had Kurt Warner on and I've had Chris Sims on, you stop the run, you force the quarterback to pass the football. Is stopping the run a big part of beating the Eagles?
Well, yeah. I mean, the Eagles are going to want to try to stay on schedule, so to speak. They don't want to be in third and long, but nobody does. I mean, it's not just the Eagles. Nobody wants to be in 3rd and 8 plus. We sure as heck never want to. So that's always the thing. The problem is it's the tougher against these guys. And then if you don't, then they lean into all their 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6. They lean into all their RPOs, all their quarterback driven plays, downhill runs, drop back pass a little bit if they want, but more play action pass. If you can get them to long, then you get them in drop back mode, and that's never fun for anybody. I mean, there's no offensive coordinator in football right now that loves drop back pass mode because of the pass rushers in the NFL. So, I think it's true for the Eagles, but I think it's true for everybody now.
How hard is it to build a staff? You haven't had to do that for a long time. You might have had to replace a guy here and there. How hard is it to build your staff?
I had to replace the whole defensive staff, 2 years ago. It's tough, and it's funny because I've been talking to coaches, and one of the coaches was in Phoenix with his wife. They had planned this date that the kids were the grandparents, and we're going to go get 4 or 5 days in Phoenix, and he's actually been taking interviews now, Zoom interviews for like 3 days. And I said I had that experience in Phoenix, and we were staying my wife and I were staying out there at the old hotel, the old classic hotel, and I forget the name of it. But I spent the whole week on Zoom interviews with coaches when I was hiring Todd Monken, an offensive coordinator 3 years ago. So, yeah, it's not easy, but there's a lot of really good coaches out there. It's really getting the guys that fit personality that you want for your team, and also fit each other. So that's kind of tricky. But then you don't get everybody you want because you got to recruit them, and they go other places. They say no. They stay where they're at. Oh, they get denied. We're not going to let you talk to this guy. He's under contract. So there's a lot of moving parts there.
Without saying every coach is important, every position coach is important. How important is your offensive coordinator? Because you got a young quarterback, you got a team that eventually I think can score some points and really be competitive on that side of the football. How tough is it to get an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, really critical. Really, 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 really critical. I had Todd lined up because I know Todd. I know Todd inside and out as a person, football, all of it, and the type of man he is. I have great respect for him. And I know that he was going to run a very diverse offense, and he was going to be a great fit for Jackson. I really knew that. And Jackson knew it too. He knew Todd all the way back from college. Then today he gets the Browns job. So it's like, here we go, we're starting over. So now I need to look at these guys, and I've been looking at them because you see it coming. Like, all right, who's this going to be now, and who can we get? And we got to get a guy that's going to be able to manage. I don't want a one system guy who has his fit, and then we got to build all the players to fit my system. I want a guy that can look at our players and say, okay, because Jackson Dart can live in different worlds. He can be under center. He can play action. He can drop back in the gun. He can run the RPOs. He can run the quarterback driven. I like all the different things he can do. So I want to have a coach that reflects that ability that he has.
I don't know if I've met your father more than one time. I know I met him at the Super Bowl. Very nice. Obviously, he's your dad. So very nice man. But how important was he? I don't really know your brother, but how important was your dad to developing you as a football person?
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't. Neither one of us would be coaching if it wasn't for him. And then everything we say is pretty much parroting. Whatever he'll joke with us and he'll say, "You guys are so much better than me. You're so much smarter. You know so much more." But let me tell you one thing I might know. And he'll talk about the off tackle power play or running to the ball on defense or whatever it is. I mean, he's still. And then when he gets really ticked off about something, you'll get a text or something early in the morning. And it does always start off. I may not know much, but I do know that. And we'll hear it, and he's always right. What I started doing was I just started texting the text to my coaches. It's like I'll just text it from Jack and text it to the O-line coach because they're not blocking anybody. Or text it to the linebacker coach because they're not tackling anybody in his mind. Yeah, I would say we owe everything to him.
The coaching staff's important, the team's important, but the media, especially in a town like New York, all the outside noise that you're going to get, and you better win. I know you've dealt with it, but you were in Baltimore. Not the same, and I'm sure there were some tough guys there. How do you handle, or have you thought about, the question should be, have you thought about how you can develop a relationship and handle the New York media?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing for me is that I have experienced it. I did get a chance to deal with people the likes of you, for 10 years in Philadelphia as a special teams coordinator. So that was my first experience. So that was good training. Then I went to Baltimore as the head coach, and although there's not as much media there, there's tough media there. So I learned to I grew a lot. I mean, I grew up a lot. I was more. I would take things more personal, and I would be more combative early on at times. And I learned. Here's what I learned, Howard. It's like this is what this is. This is sports is, and I'll say it a lot of times in the press conferences now because I grew up. I just basically say, "Hey guys, this is sports. It's sports, all right." But yeah, it's really important because it's important to people and everybody cares. But sports, I tell the players and the coaches, we are in the entertainment business. Football is it's a sport and it's tough and it's a gladiator mentality because you're competing, but in the end, it's entertainment. You are like actors in a movie or in a play. Okay, you're the character, and so they have every right. The viewers, the fans have every right to judge you, to criticize you, to praise you, to applaud you, to give you a standing ovation at the end, and you take the bow when you do great. Oh, to boo you off the stage because you had a bad performance. You did something wrong. You tripped and fell off the stage into the orchestra. Okay? It happened. I'm sorry. It's not you. It's like say it's not personal. They're booing your performance. They are criticizing your performance. It always is hurtful when they question your integrity. When they might act, if someone will write something like accuse you of lying or accuse you of something, it's like that. That's not right. Yeah, that does piss me off. And I'm probably not going to deal with you very well when I see you. But you have the right to write it. It's an opinion, okay? And you know what they say about opinions, okay? Everybody's got one.
Yeah.
So you come to it, and you can write about it and tell the players he's got one of those too, and that's his opinion. And even though it might smell a little bit, that's okay. He's allowed to do it. It's not real. And it's not you. It's you, the actor. It's you. That's how you earn your money. You're a professional actor on a stage. And look at it that way and just know what's in this phone right there, all that social media stuff, That is a small phone. That's like this whole world. It can take you and trap you.
Right.
I don't want to live in there. That's no. What do I want to live in this thing for? For what purpose? I got a whole world out here to live in. I get to talk to people. What the hell do I want to talk to in here? Some guy in his basement and text something? No, I don't think so. You know, yeah.
It's
That's
the
what we talk to our guys about.
well. Here's what I say about social media. It's not social, and it's not media. It's not either. It's not the guy from the Los Angeles Times. I forget, a very, very influential writer. Heard that, and he's used that line a few times. It's not social and it's not media. And it's like you're right. It's a guy in his basement. They're anonymous guys. And Twitter, although we use it a lot and it's effective if you use it for that, could be the toilet of the internet. It's unbelievable. But I will say this. These shows are on many, many social media platforms, but we're on YouTube and people watch the show on TV because you can get YouTube on your TV. So you watch it like a TV show. It doesn't seem like it's social media, but I will say I get a lot of comments during the show, and I don't know anybody that didn't say something positive about you during the time that you were on with me. They don't like it that you're coaching the New York Giants, and I wore, out of respect for you, I wore blue and red.
That's appreciated. That's much appreciated. That's very classy.
It might be my new favorite colors. Purple was my favorite color. It was my favorite.
Actually,
What's that?
you said that. You used to say that. You love purple.
Yeah, I love purple, but now to support you, blue and red. But here I'm going to I'm going to remind you of something, and you may not remember this. When you were the special teams coach of the Eagles, we used to do shows out of training camp out at Lehigh. And I told you, hey, I can catch punts. I mean, you go through this drill with the jugs machine and you throw punts up there. I can catch because I used to do it in high school because my closest buddy was the punter. So we used to stay after practice. He used to punt and I used to catch the punts. And I'm different than some special teams guys. I know a lot of special teams guys, and Randy Brown's son, Tyler, said, I told him I'm a hands catcher. He says, no, you got to catch it into your chest. No, I'm a hands catcher. I have great hands. But anyway, you challenged me to get out there. So I left the show. I was doing it right along the field there. Well, let's see you go out there. And I did 4 in a row and caught every one of those babies.
I remember. And I was literally shocked. I mean, that's like you were talking smack, but you were backing it up too.
Hey, listen, it's not hard, and it's not rocket science. And if you're an athlete, as I was, if
Can you still do it? Can you still do it?
you know what? I bet you I can, but I haven't done it for a while. You just got to get your hands nowadays with these gloves. I don't know how anybody drops a ball with the. I know you're not supposed to have stickum on them, but they kind of cling to. But I'm a hands catcher. I don't like to catch it against my body.
Well, you know the gloves, they don't have stick 'em on, but they're sticky. You know that, right?
Yeah,
They're sticky gloves.
yeah. Well, they are sticky gloves. But John, it's a pleasure to have you on. And I will say this: I'll make this prediction, and I believe it. I'm not saying it because you're on the show with me. Within 2 years, the New York Giants are going to win the NFC East. And it could even be next year, next season. I'm going to say it within 2 years, no more than 2 years. And if you don't win the division within 2 years, I'm going to kick your ass.
And I'll deserve it. Yeah.
So
Boo me off the stage. I'll jump out.
I'll get a megaphone to boo you. But no, good luck, John. I know you've already made the NFC East. If Jaden Daniels is healthy, Washington's going to be better. Dallas always finds a way to lose. You don't have to comment on that, but they always find a way. They're not going to win the division. But regardless of that, I think the next team to compete for the division against the Eagles in a very difficult way will be the New York Giants. Washington, again, Jaden Daniels has got to stay healthy, but you have the team, and the coach is going to have something to do with it. And I wish you luck. I really do wish you luck. Even though I used to rip the Giants on the air. It was fun ripping. I'm not going to rip them anymore. Uh, I, I'll tell you one other story. You can. That's a promise. I'll tell you a quick story. You're head of all the PR, Pat Hanlon. The first time we met, I don't know if he told you the story.
No.
I criticized. I called Eli Manning by a different name Sunday night on the show, and he came up to me. The Eagles were playing a Monday game against the Giants, and he came up to me, found me. He says, "Who the hell are you to rip our quarterback?" I said, "He's soft." I said, "He goes down before the guy even touches him." Now, he was a great quarterback, and I understand that. He was a great quarterback. But so we had, it's almost like we had to be separated. And then we got to know each other, and we respect each other. And actually, he might even like me.
I think he does. Pat Hanlon's a great guy. I've just gotten to know him in the last couple of weeks, and he actually was affectionate toward when we were talking about doing the show, kind of toward you.
Yeah, we got to know each other. We got to know each other. It was everybody has a moment. I mean, Andy Reid used to yell at me for different things that I said because who are you to say that? I said, it's my job. And then 30 seconds later, we're laughing with each other.
He owed me for a couple of things I did or didn't do. Which remember, I didn't get the kicker out on the field against the Seahawks or somebody. Johnson.
Hey, listen, he's the head coach. You can do the same thing with your assistants. Hey, John, it is a pleasure. I love having, and I don't think this is. I tell people this is not an interview. It's a conversation with a guy you know, and you're having a good time just talking about football. Good luck to the New York Giants, and if they win the division, I'm going to be there right with you. How's that? The Eagles fans might be pissed off now, but I don't care. You know what? Hey, listen, I say what I think, and I respect. I respect you not just as a coach. I respect you as a person. You're a great guy, and I say that not because you're on the air. I say that because I know you really well, and you're like that with everybody. And don't ever change, or I'll jump all over your ass too.
Thanks, Howard.
No,
It means a lot to me, and I love you. I really do. Always have.
thanks. Good luck, genius. I'll see you later. John Harbaugh. He is a terrific, and when I say that, I mean that. He's a terrific individual. And you know what? I really do. I really do respect him more than people can understand because he is a great he's a terrific coach. Hey, Eagles fans, you better watch out. You better watch out. This guy is he's going to make it tough. It's not going to be a cakewalk every year in the NFC East. You know, you can kick the Dallas Cowboys to the side, but it is what it is. They're going to be good, and they've got a good quarterback as long as he stays healthy. And now they've got a great coach, and they're going to be good. And, Pat Hanlon, I hope Pat doesn't take offense to that because I get along with Pat well, and I know he does a great job with the New York Giants. And it's just, it's kind of interesting. Moments. There's always moments in my career, but thanks to John Harbaugh. And thanks to our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell, the man that can help you with your wealth. He is so knowledgeable that, and everybody's got to get ahead of the financial world, the financial things in this world. And Jeff Stillwell can do that. Give him a call, 732-343-0813. Also, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk about, there's something I saw with baseball, and I've got to address it. I've got to address something that I saw with baseball, and I will address that. I will address the Phillies, which I know the people aren't really happy about right now. I didn't want to put John Harbaugh on the spot because it wasn't. And what's he going to say? This Bill Belichick nonsense, all this outrage, all this whining that's going on because he didn't get it on the first ballot. He'll be in the Hall of Fame, but it's just. But I want to talk about that too. But first, I want to talk about another fine partner of the Howard Eskin Show, and Thomas Chevrolet is riding with the king, our newest sponsor. Located at 1263 West Baltimore Pike in Media, Thomas Chevrolet is a family-owned business. And don't they take that lightly. That's really important. And the family is there, and the family knows what they're doing. It's just it's a closeness that you get with a family-owned business uh, that's more important because they know what what it takes to be good to it's it's their friends, not just their customers. They're celebrating 38 years in the business. Good people who provide straight deals, no need to haggle or hassle over the price of your new vehicle, whether it's a Corvette, Equinox. I'm driving an Equinox right now, and I'm really impressed with this vehicle. A Silverado, Diverse, or Tahoe, and Corvettes, by the way. Thomas Chevrolet is a certified Corvette specialist dealer. Thomas Chevrolet also has a great service department. I went down, I wanted to meet those guys. I went down to say hello to them, and they service all, you hear me right, all makes and models. You see up on the screen there, up to $14,000 savings available, 0% for up to 60 months APR available, all kinds of things going on at Thomas Chevrolet, easy to get to, top in the their service department tops in the tri-state area. Thomas Chevrolet, great selection of new, and don't forget the pre-owned. They have a great selection of pre-owned vehicles. 1263 West Baltimore Pike in Media. Go out and say hello. Just go out and say hello. Grab a cup of coffee, grab whatever, and just say hello. And you will be impressed with the people there. Here's a number to call: 610 566 8600, or check them out on the internet, thomaschevy.com. Also, another family owned business and really good people. And again, they do a great job. I don't like to deal with people that don't do a great job. And Piazza Property Pros does a great job. The 25 years of experience says all you need to know. If you're dreaming of a new in-ground pool, you better think of it now. Don't wait till the last minute, because there's other people that are thinking the same thing. You want to be at the front of the list, not later in the list. You can turn your vision into a reality. Great craftsmanship, unmatched customer service. Work is done by their own team. They don't subcontract. Excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, pool maintenance, and building a pool. Trust Piazza Property Pros, and they'll work within your budget. Here's the number: 610 566 2608 to schedule a free consultation. That's 610 566 2608, or check them out at piazzaoutdoor.com. One other thing I want to mention: our winner last Saturday, was it what's today? Wednesday, last Saturday, of the limited edition Charles Barkley limited edition. I forget what my question was, but there was many people that answered it correctly, and Joe, let me get this name right, Notariani. Notariani. Joe, I hope I pronounced it right. You are the winner, and it's autographed by Charles Barkley. It's a limited edition upper deck card. It was produced specifically for an event in here in Philadelphia, and I got Charles to sign it. Congratulations. We will have a prize at the end of the show on something that John Harbaugh said. I will have a question of something John Harbaugh said. It's just all right. But let me get down to some of the other things that I'd like to talk about. The Eagles. One of the things with the Eagles is they have no offensive coordinator. Now there's a reason for that. There's a reason, and I believe, and it's a combination of things. You want an offensive coordinator's job because eventually that person wants to be a head coach. So you got to have a productive season to springboard you into a head coach. It's just here's the issue: their offensive line is not as good. Which means their running game will not be as good. Which means the quarterback won't be as good. It's just there's a combination of things, and they may have to take somebody that really is not an offensive guy, offensive in terms of they may have to take a coach from another position, and because there have been coaches that have turned down the Eagles. Uh, uh, and it's going to be difficult. Well, I'm sure they didn't get the guy they wanted. And there's reports out there. Adam Schefter, who's right 50% of the time, hints at some big non-offensive coordinator Eagles news next week. I don't know what news that could be, but um, they've got some work to do. And people, I don't think there's trade news is not part of it, but it's hard right now. It's hard. It's hard for them to get an offensive coordinator because that offensive coordinator wants to use that as a springboard to another job. So those are the kind of things that the Eagles have to concern themselves with right now. Also, um, yeah, it trades. I know if they can't trade or for money reasons, AJ Brown until after it's June sometime to save money, and I don't know how much money uh, they can save on the cap. And I don't know if they'll trade AJ Brown, but I don't know that he can be happy with things uh, the way they are right now. I see a note here from Danny Santiago. I rarely listen to the King live. I usually listen to it Thursday morning. Good evening, King. Well, you're listening now. I always try to get good guests in the conversations that I have. It's just he and John Harbaugh was terrific. Um, all right, Bill Belichick. All this whining, all this whining going on about uh, Belichick not getting in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Well, he's going to get in the Hall of Fame, whether he's a first ballot or not. But here, you can. It shouldn't be for personal reasons, and some people may have not voted for him for personal reasons because he was such a jerk to the media. Uh, but uh, but the thing is, there are um, other issues that I will point up right now. Here are the other issues. He cheated. He cheated. He was caught cheating. Now, how many years before that? Hey, they were going to win Super Bowls with Tom Brady for multiple reasons. Number one, it was Tom Brady. Number two, they played the easiest division in the easiest division in football for 15 years. And there was two buys back then. So they always got a buy. And that helps when you get a buy. It helps when you play home games. But he cheated. He cheated. So to reward him for that, and you would be rewarded. I've had players from the 2004 Eagles team, which lost in the Super Bowl. I know McNabb turned the ball over, and I know the Eagles had a chance to win the game. But there's players that say they kind of knew uh, they kind of knew that something was wrong. That he knew a lot of the things that were going on. And uh, that's not right. It's not right. So how long was he cheating beforehand? And then they had another cheating scandal, which was Tom Brady got suspended for like 4 games. Belichick, I don't think he got suspended. I think he only got fined. But he's a cheater. And how long was he cheating? So for him not to get in on the first ballot, uh, 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 for him not to get in on the first ballot is not a big deal to me. So what? So what? Uh, so what? Uh, it's just so what? Uh, and I'm tired of the whining. It just they're just the whining is just pathetic. You people that whine that Bill Belichick didn't get in, didn't get in on the first ballot. So what? It's just no. He's and he never. Here's the other thing. Did he ever win anything without Tom Brady? Don't tell me about the New York Giants. He was an assistant, and Bill Parcells was the head coach. You know, if you want to look at it that way, he got it as an assistant. but he wasn't the head coach. So he got Super Bowls there with the Giants. No, you can't give him credit for that. And he had great players on defense. There's so many things that you can say. He'll get into the Hall of Fame, but I don't believe he should have been on the first ballot. Why is that a big deal? Uh, uh, yeah, I guess the Patriots lost draft picks for the cheating. Um, so Brady is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. You have to penalize him in some way. He will be because he's Tom Brady. And when guys are on the air, I see a question from Pete. So is Brady not a first? I wouldn't vote for him on the first ballot. He cheated. Who knows how long he cheated by deflating footballs? And stay in my lane. Give me a break. You cheat. It comes back to bite you in the ass. Oh no, I don't think he's saying me. He says if you. I think he wants to say if you cheat, it comes back to bite you in the ass. And he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. Big deal. He's going to stink as a coach at North Carolina, and that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. It just stop whining, stop complaining. All right, I want to touch on the Phillies because the Philly situation is not good. It's not good because they don't have enough. Uh, yeah, they don't have enough. They don't have enough. They don't have enough. But here's the other thing. By accident, I was flipping through the channels, and I have Xfinity and I have DirecTV. I have DirecTV. So for whatever reason, I just happened to see it on DirecTV. I saw the MLB channel. There was nothing on. I wasn't watching Law and Order at the time. And I don't watch NBA games that much because the NBA sucks. It really is it's a terrible product. It's a terrible product. Uh, I see, what's that? Jay Clemis. I guess that's who you are. Phillies are a mess. Well, they're not good. George says Phillies are depressing. Yes, they are. It's just, I've heard the term, which I've created it. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But it's not right. So don't complain about that. It's just don't complain about that. But, these comments. But the Philly situation. So I was watching the MLB. Let me not get distracted here. Watching the MLB channel, and the 1980 deciding game of the Phillies World Series was on. And I just watched, I was there. So let me just watch that. And it was 45 years ago. And this is how much the game has changed. I watched players make contact. Batters make contact. Oh, what a novel idea. What a novel idea. Players making contact. Mike Schmidt led that league in home runs for 3 straight years. Home run hitter. He went the other way. He needed to put the ball in play, and he went the other way. He went with the pitch, and he went the other way. There was a man on base. Men in scoring position, make contact, put the ball in play. Running, stealing bases. Wow, what a novel idea. It's amazing. When I watched that, the one thing that I really, really noticed is how much the game has changed. It's sad. There's nothing wrong with making contact. There's nothing wrong with not hitting home runs. There is something wrong with striking out as much as they do, but according to analytics, strikeouts aren't a big deal. It's still an out. Oh, really? Suppose you want to move a runner from second to third and you hit it to the right side. Nobody out, man on second. You want to move that runner to third? Making contact, hitting it the other way. But the thing I noticed, and I can't tell you how many Phillies players in a row made contact with the baseball. The game is so much different. It's so sad. It is so sad. It is so sad how the game has changed, and not for the better. Not for the better. It's just it's. I really miss that. Once I watched that, first of all, you miss a team that was that good. They were really, really good, really good. Maybe the best Phillies team ever. Even the Phillies team that won the World Series in 2008, but maybe the best team maybe the best team, Phillies team ever. But that is sad. Does Cowboy Jim want to get on the air? Do I want to listen to a dope? All right, I'll get him. Is he there, Joe? Is he there? Okay, we'll try to make this quick. What the hell do you want?
You must be so happy about Belichick. You have been saying it for 20 years.
Well, am I
You
wrong? Am I wrong?
no. But
Okay.
but nobody goes after Tom Brady and think, "Oh, look at that cheater. Look at that cheater." Nobody says that. Everybody loves Tom
Well,
Brady. So,
we'll see. We'll see because it will come up, whether he wants to answer it or not. It just it will come up.
well, I mean, and when you think
Brady
about
was
like
great. I don't think Belichick was great. I think Brady was great. He's the second best quarterback in
yes.
NFL history behind Joe Montana. Brady was great, but Belichick, without Tom Brady, he's won zero, won
I know,
nothing.
but they went through a good phase, and then like for 10 years they didn't go through the Super Bowl, but then they went back to the Super Bowl. So you got to give them that at least. You can't, they were always competing, always. And I mean, if it was
Wait a
granted,
minute. Who went back? What did you say? Who
I'm
went
talking
back to the
about
Super
the
Bowl?
Patriots. The Patriots went through an early period of winning a lot of Super Bowls. Then they went 10 years with nothing, and then they went back to winning them again. So that is part of Belichick. I mean, not many coaches could have done that. Yeah,
Well, sure, coaches do that because you recycle. It's a situation the Eagles are in now. You have cycles of really good teams, but then you have to lose players because of the salary cap. Yeah,
yeah.
you don't have to, but you do. And you go inside the Kansas City Chiefs went in cycles, and now they're going to have to rebuild it, and it's going to be a couple of years. I think the Eagles might be in that situation too. So you after many years, you kind of lose a lot of the players. They go elsewhere, and you lose that. So that happens to a lot of teams that
And
they
what?
go back.
Yeah, and
But it
tell me
takes
about this.
years.
Now, what about this story? Like the Titans getting, they're saying like they'd rather be in Tennessee than being in Philadelphia. Being with the new quarterback and the new Saleh as the head
Who
coach.
said they'd rather be in Tennessee than Philadelphia?
It was a day. It wasn't a Dable saying that, or and the quarter. They all just are happy to be down in Tennessee rather than being in Philadelphia.
Did he
I'm just
say
saying.
that? I don't think he said that directly because he wouldn't rip the Eagles. But it's obvious he's happier being in Tennessee. They got a quarterback that he can develop into being good. They got a chance. They're on their way up, so they got a chance to do some things. So, but as I said, the Eagles situation, the offensive line isn't as good, which means the running game won't be as good, even though you have Saquon Barkley, which means the quarterback won't be as good.
No.
So the
But
upside,
why?
you want an upside if you come here. You want an upside to
But
Philadelphia.
what? Come on, you're the expert. I mean, you've known this for so long. Why can't they find anybody? I mean, why can't they find
Because
anybody?
there's not enough upside for a coach to get a head coaching job if he's the offensive coordinator. You look for something to jumpstart you into a head coach. And this offense may not, it wasn't good last year. What makes you think it's going to be better
But
next year?
how do they go from winning a Super Bowl and this great offense to being so horrible?
Because
It
they had a
doesn't make.
great I'm going to answer your question. Great offensive line, the best in football. Saquon Barkley had a legendary year. So they had a running game, and that made it better for the quarterback.
Well, I don't know. A little
I
fraudulent.
just explained it to you.
Little fraudulent to me. That's all I got to say.
That's
But
not fraudulent.
yeah, but I'm happy with my coach. I'm happy with my new defensive coordinator. I'm happy all around about that. But
Oh, yeah.
all right. Well, who's ruining a team more, Bryce Harper or Jalen Hurts? Who's ruining a team more?
Ruining is the wrong word. I
All
don't
right.
think they're ruining. I mean, Jalen Hurts isn't as good as he was because the team around him isn't as good, and he's got to do some better things. And Bryce Harper was a great player when he came here, but he's now on the last 6 years of his contract, and he's not. He's a good player, but he's not a great player. But I would never use the word
Well,
ruining.
it
But the
seems like it
Philly
just
here's the problem. The Phillies have signed some bad contracts.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, some bad contracts. It's the Phillies' fault. It's the organization's fault. That's the problem.
I don't know.
Uh,
Bryce just seems to want his family. Like he wants his little group around him all the time, and
well,
that's
he dictates a little too much, and I would agree with that. All right. Don't you have somewhere to go? Don't you have a red eye flight that you have to get on?
I'm out of here. Bye, buddy.
I see it, dope. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. The question to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. And answer the question. Submit it to my contact page at howardeskin.com by midnight this Friday, January 30th, on my show on Saturday, January 31st. And we'll have Mark Lawrence to take a preview look at maybe some of the prop bets and some of the things for the Super Bowl, 8 a.m. on X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I really suggest you subscribe. Well, follow me on all of them, but subscribe to YouTube because you're notified exactly when you come. When I come on the air live. And then it's really easy to find. All right, here's the question. There's a lot of things that we dealt with John Harbaugh. I think the Giants are going to be tough for the Eagles. Hey, listen, they split with the Eagles this year. Within 2 years, I think the Giants win the division. I think within 2 years, and it wouldn't shock me if they did it this year. So before I get to the question, I'm going to read this comment by Pat O'Connor. Jalen is part of the reason they can't hire a coordinator. And this is Pat now. Eagles passing game was 29th in the league last year. It was 29th in the league the year they won it all. It was. The passing offense was 29th because they didn't pass that much. I don't know that. It's fact. Won't happen again with this offensive line. And Saquon's getting older, but the offensive line is really important. What if the Eagles have to find a defensive coordinator on top of an offensive coordinator? Well, I think Vic Fangio's going to be here next year. He's got to be here next year. He's not going to. I would hope so. He's really got to be here next year. All right, here's my question to win the pair of Oakley sunglasses. We touched on a lot of things. Great conversation with John Harbaugh. He talked about his relationship with Lamar Jackson at the end of the season. He talked about his relationship. So something about what he said about Lamar Jackson at the end of the last game and his relationship with Lamar Jackson. And submit it to my website. The winners will be, it's kind of a vague question, but the winners will be selected at random. And you'll win a pair of Oakley sunglasses if you're chosen as the winner with the correct answer to the question on all those social media platforms. By the way, audio-wise, we're on other platforms as well, whether it's Apple, Spotify, or Amazon Music. This guy's late to the party. Chris of 2020, King, the question is, was Bellichick shafted by the Hall of Fame voters? No, I don't think he should have got in on the first ballot, but he'll get in. All right. I appreciate everybody that joined the show. I know we went on a little early tonight. We tried to roll with John Harbaugh's schedule. Went on a little early, but you can always go back and listen to it on all the social media platforms. Easy to find on YouTube. And thanks. A lot of people enjoyed the show. I enjoy it when I have a great conversation. I enjoy it because I know you'll enjoy it, and the people listening as you're riding with the king. And how about John Harbaugh? Like my music. He says maybe he ought to put it on his phone. Yeah, the people have to wait to leave you a message. But I might send it to him just as a joke. send my open and my close on my theme song. But thanks to Joe Gangemi for rolling with it tonight and the technical part of it. Thanks to Tony Anastasia for all the graphics and all the things she does on my website and the social media stuff. And thanks to you for being a part and riding with the king and being a part of the Howard Eskin Show. Thanks.